guys, it's Jenn at Hello Rigby, and today I'm going to be doing a first impressions review of the new Smashbox Cover Shot eye palette. I got the color Ablaze, which was a VIB Rouge exclusive. It was released about, I don't know, maybe earlier this last weekend, I think, and I was really excited to see it go live. Of course, I felt bad that it was just for VIB Rouge because I know a lot of people really wanted to try these eye palettes out. This is a very exciting collection because it is with their new brand ambassador, Shay Mitchell. I know a lot of people really love her from Pretty Little Liars, and apparently she also has a YouTube channel which has done really well. So anyway, I thought I would do a first impression review. Now, I don't really know too much about this palette. I hadn't really heard much about it until it went live on Sephora's website, and all of a sudden I started seeing all these articles about it and how it's already sold out and all this crazy stuff, and it wasn't sold out. It was just a VIB exclusive. This Ablaze color specifically was the one that some of these articles were covering, and so I jumped on it and I got a second one for a giveaway as well. So if you want to see more about this palette, then just keep on watching, and at the end I will be showing you how to get this eye look featuring all colors from this palette. So the first thing I wanted to cover was the packaging. Now, you did see it in this packaging. This is the outer cover. It is just, you know, standard paper. It shows the colors on the back, nothing too exciting. But the palette itself is a lot of fun. As you could see probably when I was talking in my intro, I was kind of moving it back and forth, and you can see this kind of fun effect that the palette itself has. I think it's really fun and different. It is kind of that funky like material that makes a noise. I don't know what they call this. And I have only had it a couple days, and I already am noticing that this material is kind of easily disturbed, if you will. So it does, it is affected by product getting attached to it, and it does kind of get a little wonky looking, but you can't really tell from a distance, so I really don't think it matters. And then when you pop it open, you do have to be a little bit careful because it has a little lip, and it is fairly close to the shadow, and I could see you, if you have long nails like I do, accidentally digging that nail into a shadow if you're getting a little bit too excited. Now, it is the size, it is fairly small. It's about the size of my hand, and I don't have particularly large hands, so it is smaller than I expected, but what it contains does pack a punch. The colors are very vibrant, they're very pigmented, and I've been really pleased with all of them thus far. Now, this is the first time I'm wearing this palette all day long. I'm going to be doing a check-in at the very end of this video and show you what this eyeshadow looks like late at night once I've had a full day's wear. I did prime one eye and not the other, so we'll be doing that whole first impressions thing. It is a very vibrant palette, very similar to a fire or a sunset, depending on what you see when you look at this. So there are three matte shades in here. We have Moccasin, we have Siesta, and Nirvana. Oops, Nirvana here. Those three are the matte shades, and then there are some that are very shimmery and some that are less shimmery. So we have shimmers here, 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 and then here, which also has some glitter in it. And this one here is very lightly shimmery compared to the rest. So obviously very beautiful colors, and I am pleased with the packaging. I think it's a great size, good size for travel. I love that it has a mirror. That is a huge bonus, and the mirror is a good size too, so it is not terribly small. It takes up the entire space of the lid, which I think is great. So overall, really impressed with the packaging for the size of this palette. It's very lightweight, it's compact, but all the colors are usable and they can be used all in the same eye look, which I think is great. There's really no wasted space here, which I really appreciate. All right, and now we're gonna jump into some swatches. Is Relax. The next shade I'm gonna swatch is Moccasin. The next shade I'm going to swatch is Siesta. The next shade I'm going to swatch is Nirvana. The next shade I'm going to swatch is Delirious. The next shade I'm going to swatch is Torch. The next shade I'm going to swatch is called Throwback. And the final shade I'm going to swatch is Dark Horse. Alright, and now that you've seen the swatches, you've heard a little bit about how the palette functions and looks, I thought I would just jump into a quick demo. So if you want to see how I got this eye look, then just keep on watching. So first I'm just going to add some face powder underneath my eye to make sure that if we have any fallout, during this demo that it'll be taken care of. Then I'm gonna prime my eye. I'm gonna prime one eye. I'm gonna prime my right eye with Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I'm only gonna prime one eye because I want to see how the shadow performs without eye primer. Then I'm going to go ahead and jump into the palette here. So this is what the palette looks like. I think I'm going to try to use as many colors as possible in this eye look just because I want to test all of them out and see how they perform. So on a Sigma 3D HD Precision brush, I am going to take this creamy matte color and I'm just going to place that all over the lid. The reason I'm going to do that is because I don't find that there's a really great medium or light colored brown transition shade. So I'm going to use this all over the lid space to go ahead and transition the makeup. And then on a fluffy crease brush, this is a Morphe E17. I am going to take this matte kind of orange shade here and I'm going to work that into my crease. Ooh, very pigmented. Very pigmented, but you can see it blends out really nicely without losing too much of that color. It's a really pretty color. Bigger fluffy crease brush. This is the Morphe M502 and I'm going to blend some of this color right here. It's got a little shimmer to it and I'm gonna blend this into the inner third. And then using a more precision pencil brush shape, the Morphe G27, I'm going to take this brown shade here, dark brown, and darken my outer corner up. Wow, that's really, really pigmented. I'm really impressed so far with this, actually. You know, Smashbox gets some shit for their eye palettes, but from what I understand from a lot of other people's experience kind of reading about the brand and their palettes, because I wasn't very impressed with the full exposure palette. I got a little tester card in one of my Sephora orders and I just didn't think the shadows were that amazing. But this one is really pigmented and I'd read that the smaller version of the full exposure was also very pigmented. So far so good. I do notice that this one has some fallout on it, and obviously we're not going to leave that so extreme. So I'm going to take a big Morphe M461 brush and I'm going to blend this out here, kind of diffuse the shadow. And then taking a fluffy, this is a dual-ended brush from Crown. It's called the Crease Shadow Brush C476. I'm going to take this kind of light shimmer color here. It's kind of a light peach, like a peachy salmon color. And I'm going to press that onto my lid. And then I'm going to take the fluffy Morphe E17 and I'm going to take this pretty cranberry shade here and I'm just going to work that into the middle third of the eye. Just want to add some more dimension to this look and a pop of color. Obviously this already has a lot of color, but I just want to add a little bit more. All right, and then finally, I think I'll have used all the colors now. I'm gonna take this orange shade and I'm gonna blend this into the inner third. And I'm going to do this on a very small brush because I want to be pretty precise with this. So this is the Morphe M213. Okay, that shade had quite a bit of fallout. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there is lots of fallout right here. It is pretty light color, so it may not show up. It's all over my nose and kind of all over the place. It also, I noticed, kind of went underneath the eye as well. I think it's just kind of more of a powdery shade. You can see where I picked it up, there is more powder remnants there. So it is just a little bit more powdery than some of the other shades. So I don't want to leave these unblended, so I'm going to blend together Torch and then the cranberry shade, which is called Nirvana. And I'm going to do this with an e.l.f. grease brush. Matte shade, I'm going to put that onto my big fluffy Morphe M461 brush, and I'm going to blend this top part of the crease out. I'm just going to diffuse all the colors so that there's not so much harshness. All right, and on that little tiny smudger brush, the Morphe M213, I'm going to load this up with the same colors that I used on the top of my lid. So I'm going to take Torch and put that in the inner third. Whoa, real pigmented. The cranberry color. Whew. Whoa, that is intense. Okay, just gonna gently blend those out. And then I'm gonna diffuse the color a little bit with Moccasin, that really light matte shade. And then to finish off the look, I'm going to take the shade Relaxed up here, and I'm gonna put that in the inner corner. All right, and then I'm just gonna apply eyeliner. I'm gonna use the Galactic Beauty Precise Eyeliner Marker. And then next I'm going to take the Fully Charged Mascara from Pure, and I'm just going to put that onto my lashes to blend them together. And then of course on the lower lashes as well. And this is the completed look. Pretty sure it looks exactly the same for the most part. My lashes have moved a little bit, and my eyeliner I think has kind of moved a little bit as well, but the eye makeup itself, the eyeshadows, I think are pretty much the same. There's no creasing. So this was the eye that had the shadow primer, and this was the eye that didn't, and I honestly think that they look the same. I think it looks exactly the same between the two. If anything, I think the eyeliner held up better on the side that had the shadow primer, but I don't think it made a real difference to the shadow. I think they look about the same on both eyes. So that is it for this first impressions review of the Smashbox Cover Shot eyeshadow palette in Ablaze. I hope you enjoyed seeing a demo and what my impressions of this palette are. For me, I would recommend it. I really love the colors. I love the performance of the shadows. I'm really impressed. To be honest, I didn't really expect a whole lot just because Smashbox isn't one of my go-tos when it comes to eyeshadow, and I really am impressed. I think it's a great find. If you aren't looking to spend $40, $50, $60 on an eyeshadow palette and you want these sort of colors, you know, it reminds me a little bit of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette in the terms of it has the pinks, it has the oranges and the reds. I think this would be a great option. You know, I love the look of that palette, but I just didn't want to spend that much money on another palette, and this is exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for something a little bit more compact. I was looking for the colors that were in here, but I didn't want to spend, you know, I didn't want to buy another huge palette because I have quite a few that I just don't use that much. So if you're looking for something that you can add to your makeup, you know, drawer, your collection without it taking up a ton of space, or you want something that's travel friendly that has those really bold, exciting colors, because let's be honest, a lot of travel friendly palettes are kind of on the boring side. These are definitely a great option, and you know, there's tons of different colors and shades, and you know, I can't speak to the quality of every single palette, but if they're all like this, then I think it's a good buy. So I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts and that it was helpful to you. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate if you gave it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe down below. I'll be bringing you more first impression reviews. If there's a particular product that has been released recently that you'd like me to review, or is an old one, you know, let me know in the comments and I'll do my best. Thank you again so much for watching this video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!